So was the campus dark or something? Or you just were in a
Um,
spot that you're not supposed to be?
it was a classroom, and the lights are off in the night. So we were just, and by rule, Monroe is so set up that after you finish your homework, which is usually about 8:15 in the night, we usually have an hour to do homework, and only when you reach fourth or fifth form you get an hour and a half to do homework. That's it. No
Okay.
more. You're not allowed. So you had to go to bed, and they turned the lights off, and you had to be sleeping until 6 in the morning.
So you couldn't
And if
stay in
you
your room and study either.
No, no, no. It's in a dormitory where there are other boys. And if you're caught leaving your dormitory in the night, you're caned. So you're not supposed to be up studying late at night either. You're supposed to be in bed until 6 o'clock.
Literally get whipping for being up studying because you're not
Right.
being disciplined about your hours. Huh?
No. You must rest, you must play, and then you must do schoolwork. That was the maxim. There's a time for schoolwork, there's a time for
And,
play, and there's
and
time
it's
for
time
sleep.
for bed for sure.
Yep.
Wow. Great discipline. Thank God for Monroe. You think that still exists up there?
No, unfortunately, it's gone.
Um,
Um, it has been destroyed, and unfortunately, by some parents as well, um, because they don't support the system. We have gotten to the point now where parents do not want to see their children disciplined
yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Widespread.
yeah. They want them to turn out to be good without being taught to be good,
Yeah.
and that is sad.
But they
So
would also argue that there are other ways to teach them to be good besides
yeah,
being that heavy-handed.
the problem is they can't tell us which other way.
Yeah.
You can't have a boarding you can't have a boarding school of 340, 350 boys and expect that they're going to be saints. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
And if you're not strong and if you don't discipline them firmly, they're going to do crazy things. And that's what they're doing now.
Wow.
Yeah. It's drugs, it's all kinds of things. Terrible.
Okay. So your academics in Monroe was obviously really good. So did you assume any leadership position while you were there?
Um, I was I was a prefect. I
Uh-huh.
was the what they call the head of house for one of the houses. I was the prefect in charge of that entire house, about 120 boys.
Okay.
And after that, well, I got the prize for being the best prefect. I don't know how, but that was so. But that was my only leadership position. I literally
Okay.
tried to keep a low profile.
Okay. So did you know from the time you went to Monroe that you wanted to be a doctor?
And no, my first choice was actually to become a pilot, and up to sixth form, I was still pushing that direction.
Uh-huh.
But the only way I could have done it, because we didn't have the money, the only way I could have done it was to perhaps go through the army. And
Uh-huh.
I decided not to go through the army.
Right.
So I said, I decided to take my second choice, which was medicine. So medicine is actually my second choice.
But one would argue that is medicine more expensive than being a pilot?
Actually, at the time, no.
Really?
At the time, no, no, because you'd have to get to a school. You'd have to go to Miami or one of these places to learn to fly. Um,
Oh,
or even if you were in Jamaica, you had to pay. You had to have the money to pay to go
okay.
to do medicine. What I needed was you could get a student loan,
Oh,
and yeah. And at first, when we just started, tuition was free and well, you know,
okay.
was covered to a point. So um, so it was cheaper.
So at that time, they would not give student loan for people who want to learn to be a pilot. That's
Not that I
strange.
know. No.
Strange. Okay, so you graduated Monroe and you moved on to to the University of the West Indies, Mona,
Mhm.
and you pursued medicine. And
Yes.
how was that for you?
That again was a trying time.
Yeah.
The because at first because I taught for 1 year at Monroe
Uh,
because I when I went to UA, I didn't have the grades to get into medicine at the time, so I went into natural science, got the grades, but then I had a year off, so I went and I taught at Monroe,
okay.
saved all my money, so I had enough money for the first year and a half.
Uh-huh.
My father had enough money for to add up for 2 years. We
Okay.
didn't know where the next 3 years were going to come from.
Take it 1 year at
But
a time.
yeah, but then I started to take loan after the second year, and um, and I got help from family and friends. Um, I had to learn how um, to let out. I mean, I knew how to let my pants out and how
Yeah, well,
to uh, so so my clothes last long. I hand washed everything
since you
so
could
that they
wash
wouldn't
already,
well,
right?
of course. And I had my needle and thread, and I know what to sew, and I patched my pants, and I went. Um, I had to cook every day because I couldn't buy food from the canteen, um, and I shared it with. There was some other guys who were. Some of them were less fortunate than I was, and I had to share my food with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, but God provided. I can't tell you how. If I were to look back now and tell you how I got through, I would not be able. I
Wow.
just know. Yeah. I remember one time I was down to $0. And it was strange, but some months before I was having a severe pain in my knee. And by that time, I used to run because I run cross country and I used to represent my block and the hall in cross country and another sports. And but my knee was paining me like crazy. So I went to the university hospital and paid for an X-ray. It was $5, and the machine broke down. Just as I was supposed to go in, the machine broke down. So I went home. I went back there. Another week later, I saw the people in front of me, everybody going in to get their X-ray. And when it was my time, the X-ray broke down again.
Ah,
So I got fed up and I left. Well, about 6 weeks later, I'm down to $0. And then I remembered, wait, you paid for an X-ray that you didn't get. So I went back and got my refund for my $5 and went to the market and bought bananas and stuff like that. And I went and I said, that was God's way of me saving money.
that was good thinking that you could remember that you should go back and demand your money. I would
Of
kind of
course,
just not even think about that. So
no,
that was good. But back in those days, sorry guys, um, I don't know, sinus problem, whatever.
kind of,
You
yeah.
heard my doctor call just now before we started this because I was supposed to have a consult with her. Um, yeah, so you $5 at that time. What were you able to get?
No, I tell you, at that time, if you learned where to shop, I ended up with 2 pounds of flour. I ended up with yam, sweet potato, bananas. Um, I bought, strange enough, I got piece of saltfish, not not much, because this was like about 80. This was about 89.
So,
So
so maybe that's
so
when starfish could shingle house.
I still you still could buy a little piece. So I did get a good bit for that $5, considering. But I knew I had enough to stretch to last me for the week, and that was it. But by the time the week was up, my grandaunt, who I hadn't seen for some time, popped up on campus, and she gave me money. So there it was. I had money
Oh,
again.
God always
So
provide.
always did,
Did,
always did.
did you have it so hard that sometimes you felt that you'd quit? Was it ever that bad?
Never crossed, no, never crossed my mind.
Okay.
Um, I just knew God was going to work something out. I didn't know how. I mean, by the time I got to fourth year, I didn't know how I'm going to go through the fifth year. But I'm saying, well, there's no way God would have brought me to fourth year. and not take me through the fifth one.
Right.
So I just had to trust him, and it came. And every time I got money when I had none, it never came that I had extra. It was always when I had none left that somebody would send, or something would
Yeah. Yeah.
come in an envelope um, from my aunt in Black River or something like that. Something always came up. So,
Ah, wonderful. I have a question in the group asking you about your sister. Where are your siblings?
all right. Um, my Most people probably would remember. All right, my last sister Sabina, she's still in Happy Grove. She lives with my father. My father is he's going to be 92 this year, so
Ah,
she's there, and she's teaching at Black River. Um, Ben, who is my brother, that is just older than Sabina, he's working at the Bureau of Standards in accounts in Kingston.
okay.
Yeah. Um, Kimberly, that's the some would remember that sister that was below me. She's actually in Florida.
Oh,
Um, she has some doctorate in child psychology or something like
uh,
that. That's where she is. My brother Conrad, he works on a farm in Mandeville here,
okay.
and then there's my older brother Hassett, so one um, some people remember he's in Trinidad. He's in Trinidad.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and my elder sister, that Annie, she is in Michigan now with her son. That's where she
Okay.
is. She and her husband are in Michigan.
Okay. I remember Annie the most
Yeah.
of the lot. Okay. So this is kind of like when you went to Monroe and they're asking you about your siblings. And then you had
Yeah,
to go through.
had to go through the whole.
I'm
Yeah,
sure while you're doing that, you're doing it by age. So
yeah,
you don't skip any.
always went down. Yeah,
Okay. So guys, you heard that. He told us where his parents, where his siblings are, and his father is back there in Jamaica, and your mom is where?
my mom is in New York.
Okay, great. Wonderful. It's nice to hear that everybody's basically okay
So far,
and
so good.
still pretty much doing good and alive. I think I saw your dad the last time I was in Jamaica,
Yeah,
at church.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, you struggled through your university life. Did it affect your grades in any way?
No,
No.
no, it did
Yeah,
because, as I said, you have to trust God
yeah,
and
great.
then you have to do what your part.
Yeah.
Can't depend on God is not going to solve everything. He's going to give you a part to do, and He's going to do His part. You do your part, He do His part.
Good.
That's it.
And you had a good supportive family. So that's good.
Yeah.
So after you graduated from the University of the West Indies, Mona, you went where?
Went to Trinidad. Did my internship in Trinidad actually. Port of Spain General. And multiple maternity. So that's where I did my internship, and I met my wife um, at Port of Spain General.
Oh,
Um, yeah, we got married in '94, so that was just after I finished internship. About 4 months after that, got married, and then came back to Jamaica.
okay. Was it by choice that you went to Trinidad, or it was like, you know, opportunity
I
that you couldn't pass? Or
Well, what happened is I was trying to get to go to Bahamas because the interns got better paid, and I wanted to clear off my debt. And at the time, I was also engaged, um, but that's another story. And so I wanted to just go Bahamas, work, pay off my debts, um, and then so I can start, you know,
uh,
living and working. Um, I wasn't chosen, um, so I so I asked so I decided, let me try Trinidad, and they said yes, come, and I said okay, fine.
Okay.
Um, and the thing about it, I wanted a break from the university hospital. I was just tired of um, the politics and all the craziness that was going on up here, and I said I didn't want to do my internship here, and I just wanted a break from Jamaica. So I went to Trinidad, worked, saved up, paid off my school, my um,
Lord.
my student loan, yeah. And but I met my wife down there and got married.
So that's a good thing.
Yep.
Worked out very, very well. You
Oh yeah.
you got a wife, you paid off your debt, and you're ready to live your life like you said it. In all aspect of it. Wonderful. Did you like Trinidad though?
It had its ups and downs.
Okay.
Trinidad, when I went there, they were far more disciplined than we were. I mean, I remember going there, and the first I decided I was going to explore a bit. So I went down into the town, and I saw this long line of people standing up, and I'm wondering what is happening here. And then I saw this bus came along, and they filed one by one into the bus, and I'm like, what craziness is this? I mean, in Jamaica, they would be jumping through the window and everything. Um, so they had a lot of good things going for them. Education was free. I mean, you could get your first degree, even a second degree, free
Wow.
if you wanted to. Transport was cheap. A lot of things were you could survive there. But then you saw the telltale signs that the crime was going to skyrocket. And um, some of us who were from Jamaica were living here. We were warning them. Like, we said, look, guys, this is what happened in Jamaica. And you're going to get worse. So no, the crime is horrible. The economy is not that hot now because they depend on oil, and oil prices went through the floor.
Right.
So things are not as great there now. And crime is rampant there.
But it
It's
was
way
good
worse
when
than
you were there.
when I was there. It was not bad at all. Not
Ah,
bad at all.
right.
Yeah.
So your marriage produced two children. What age are they?
My son will be 20 in the next couple of days. Well, son, yeah, the 20th. My daughter will be 24 in March.
Oh, wonderful.
Um,
And they're both doing well. I would imagine, like you.
they did well in high school and stuff. My daughter, she started university, and then she dropped out. She said she wanted to write, so she's writing novels, um, fiction. So um, my son now he's trying to decide what he wants to do. So he did Cape, have 13 Cape subjects. So asked me what he's doing with them, and then say, but he can't make up his mind what to do. That's a tricky one.
Okay. As long as he's not doing anything bad.
No.
Let him take his time.
Yeah.
So now you are the senior medical officer at Hargreaves Memorial Hospital
Yeah.
in
Yes. Yeah.
Mandeville.
In mind.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Really proud
Yeah.
of you and that achievement and all your other achievements, to come up in such a humble way, to struggle to, find your way literally, and to see you at still a young age make it to senior medical officer of a hospital, a reputable hospital such as Hargreaves Memorial in Mandeville. That is huge.
Thank you.
Congratulations on behalf of all of us from New Market, Happy Grove, the whole area. We're really proud of you and that achievement. But how is it in Mandeville?
Ah, apart from the fact that now we're um, being struck by COVID, it's a massive outbreak in Manchester.
Really?
But yeah, yeah, Manchester is getting a good um, beaten with COVID cases. The numbers are rising. Um,
Wow.
Mandeville is not as it used to be. In the good old days, we used to know Mandeville as a nice, quiet, clean town and stuff. Now it's the crime is terrible. The town is not that clean anymore. It's congested. Um, the crime rate is high. It's not good at all. And sadly, Manchester is also the cancer capital of the Caribbean. A
Uh,
lot of cancers in Manchester. Nobody's sure why.
I'm sure most people will be quick to blame the two bauxite companies that it sits between.
Yeah, but I don't think it's as simple as that. I think it's far more than that. Because there are other parishes with bauxite, with Clarendon, there, St. Anne, but they don't have the problems that we do. So obviously there's more to it than
But that's pretty interesting because I spent a long time in Mandeville, so I'm pretty much familiar with the lifestyle there in Mandeville. And, you know, you would think of Mandeville as a town where people are in general try to be healthy.
that. Yeah,
And CU is there, a large part of the population is Seventh-day Adventists and all of that. So it would be interesting to try to figure out why we have so many cases of cancer in that area.
yeah. Unfortunately, nobody's doing the research. It's which is sad. Um, but it's um, it's a fact that is known. A lot of cases, um, and they're very strange cases, strange cancers. Some of them very aggressive.
Yeah,
You have young people dying at 20s with strange cancers.
I know a
Terrible.
few people in the Manchester who have cancer indeed. Now
Yeah,
that you talk about it, it's true. But
terrible.
wow, wow.
Yeah. We're not sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the mystery of life.
yeah, yeah.
Keep battling on. So is Hargreaves Hospital still like really competitive in terms of the care around Mandeville, or has the regional hospital kind of overrun that?
Well, the regional hospital is free, so obviously
Yeah.
it will get first priority for most people to go there. We are the only private hospital in central Jamaica. I mean, um, when you leave Kingston, technically, um, where you meet up on us, then you go to Montego Bay. So there's not much choice in terms of private hospitals.
Right.
But yes, there are competition with services, X-rays and blood labs and whatever. There are competitions with different services. Um, but we're not doing bad. We could be better off,
Uh,
but it's just that we need investment um, to to get it to where it's supposed to be. But where it was, considering that um, in 2006 it was sold because it was going to be closed,
okay.
and when the new owners bought it in about 2009 or so, they were also going to close it down. So it went through some hardship.
Oh,
Um, Now we're surviving. It's a profitable venture. It's just not as profitable as it could be. And
okay.
yeah,
So
there's a number of
who bought it? Who bought the hospital?
the Lynns bought it out. They own the
Okay.
Lynns Funeral Home, so they
Okay.
bought it in 2006
Oh,
to save it from actually being closed down.
that's wonderful.
Um, yeah. So, but they did their best. They invested, made made good progress,
Uh,
but right now it needs to take the next step. We need to get much better than what we are.
it's
Um,
there was a time when we used to have carnival and all kinds of things to raise money for the hospital. That doesn't happen anymore.
yeah, but because it's a private hospital, I mean, that wouldn't work in a sense. Yeah, the private hospital, nobody is going to um, do things to get things to send to the private hospital free. They would more do it for the public hospital because
Okay.
that's where everybody benefits. They're going to say the private hospital, they charge a lot of money so they can survive. But that's a misunderstanding of how hospitals work.
Right.
Um, Private hospitals get, I mean, right now in the US, for instance, and not just there, for COVID, a lot of them had to close down because they got a heavy blow.
Uh-huh.
They can't survive without um, doing a lot of elective surgeries and stuff like that.
Right.
And if you can't operate normally, you can't make money. Um,
So as a private hospital, are you involved in any particular outreach for the community, re-COVID and all that? Um, can you get funding for stuff like that?
Difficult. And the thing about it is that even with the whole issue of the COVID, they we can't do as much because it costs a lot to look after a COVID patient, for instance. You have to literally restructure an entire um, um, rooms and
Or
wards, yeah, to look after COVID patients. And can they pay to be looked after?
wow.
And the answer is no, because every time a nurse goes in and they have to don PPEs, that's a lot of money. Um, Everybody who walks in that room has to change and everything. By the time one day alone, your bill would be very high. Um,
Why?
the government has to take that part of the blood. They get free stuff from wherever. We don't. We'd have to buy everything.
Yeah. So does that mean that you guys don't take COVID patients at all?
We don't keep COVID patients once we have made that diagnosis.
Okay.
But there has been cases where we
Oh,
admit them, we start looking after them, treating them, and in some cases it's when they have left that we found out that they had COVID.
oh,
Yeah. But for the most part, we don't keep COVID patients. So like now, there's none in the hospital that have COVID.
okay, okay.
Yeah,
Because you don't have the funds, or they can't pay for
can't pay for them.
for being there because
No,
of all
no.
that is involved, and we can understand that. Because
Yeah.
back in the days we used to joke about if you go to Hargreaves and you use a cotton ball, they're charging you for it. So I can imagine I can imagine what it is like now, you know.
Yeah, but somebody has to pay for it,
Somebody has
unfortunately.
to pay, and like you said,
Yeah,
nobody else is funding. So the
yeah,
doctors and nurses and everybody has to get paid, and the facility has to
yeah,
keep going. So
yeah,
you have to charge it back to the patients.
yeah.
Well, I don't know. Maybe you could try to find some way to raise funds overseas for the hospital, because it still serves the community, because it is that place that you go to avoid some of the chaos, even though it's
Yeah,
expensive. If
yeah,
you can afford it, you would avoid some of the chaos. You could have a private room and so on. So I'm
yeah.
pretty sure that maybe some people overseas would be interested in helping the hospital,
The,
not just
the thing
looking at
about,
it as a money making place, but
yeah,
it's a facility that gives you an alternative.
yeah. We're trying, the thing about it is that what is, because it needs um, a large investment to actually take it to where it can be of more benefit to the community. If you want to, for instance, help um, people get surgeries and do whatever, you have to get to a certain point where you are well equipped. You are making enough money where you can say, all right, good, you can actually afford to see certain patients, or we can actually bring in doctors to operate on patients, ask them to come and help. Perhaps get the banks to fund some of these major surgeries, because we do brain surgeries and stuff like that at Harvard.
Uh-huh.
But these things are very expensive.
Right.
Um, but yes, if the hospital had was fully equipped, and you're actually making a profit, enough to say, all right, good, we can afford to see a certain amount of patients from the community and ask the doctors to see them free, and we provide the space and the service and whatever. These are some of the things we had in mind. But
Right.
when the hospital was, when you're in the red for years, and you're now just breaking even, and you now just start to see, and just now when you start making a little money, you have to now start replacing all your equipment.
Right.
It's
And
not
then
easy.
yeah.
It's not easy. Um,
Wow.
you'd have to you'd have to sit. I mean, I'd have to sit and tell somebody how this thing runs for them to understand why um, private hospitals, it's difficult to run and why it costs so much and why it's not easy um, for us to just give away services like
Yeah.
that. Um,
You're
there are
not
a
getting
lot,
subsidies, so
no,
no, you can't. But like I said, it still has its place. It's still an alternative for a lot of
yeah,
people who just want to escape the long wait and whatever else is at the public hospital. So would you say that you guys are performing like cutting edge technology type surgery there right now?
no.
No.
There are some things we've done. We've done um, brain surgeries and spine surgeries, which are cutting edge,
Uh-huh.
because we have people who are trained, in the UK, come brilliant surgeon, and he comes and he operates. So we do have some of that. Um, we do laparoscopic surgeries and stuff like that, but we're not equipped to do a lot of things that we should be doing. Um, yes, we put in pacemakers and stuff like that. So there's some things that we do that that are first world, but we're still behind.
So let me ask you, does the public hospital have better equipment than you guys?
No, not necessarily, but
Not necessarily.
they have gotten donations, so they have some equipment that we don't.
Well,
Mandeville Hospital is a Type B hospital, so they have something that we would not have because
right.
yeah, but a simple thing, for instance, as a CT scan that we have, they don't have. Um, so there are some give and take on both sides.
So I was wondering if there is a collaboration between the two. They're like just next door each other, literally.
Sometimes, in actual fact, I tell you something. There are sometimes they run out of things and we help, and sometimes we exchange things. Like they don't have certain things, and we exchange some of our stuff for theirs, and they exchange some of their stuff for ours
Right. Right.
because they might run out. So there's that time when when they ran out of IV fluids. We needed some stuff. So they are fine. We
Yeah.
use some of our fluids. We take, yeah. So we kind of work like that. The
Good
problem though is that,
relationship will help, right?
yeah, yeah,
Guys in the group, one second, Doc. Guys in the group, thank you so much again for joining us. I see Jackie Collins here. Colleen is still here, and I can't see anybody else from the scroll, but I know a good amount of you are still on here. I'm gonna ask you guys to share the page or share this video right now. Just stop and share it so that this can get spread around the place. You never know. We might be able to help doctor to get some assistance that they need for the hospital. We don't know. People become more interested in the community and what we're doing and try to help. So this is all about helping and networking. So just share this page with your people in your personal groups or so on, so that other people can participate, because we are trying to build better communities and we need everyone to help. We need all hands on deck. You heard the doctor talking about the high cases of cancer in Manchester area. um, this is something that all of us need to be concerned about. It would be interesting to know what's the situation in St. Elizabeth as far as these diseases are concerned, doctor. Because
yeah,
I am involved in healthy lifestyle, that I try my best to train people, to teach people, to lead people into eating well, so that some of these preventable diseases, we can get rid of them rather than be saddled with them and have to try to treat them.
yeah.
What's
There
the situation like in St. Elizabeth as far as you know?
um there are pocket areas where they have cancer as well. Nain in St. Elizabeth, and I've been seeing some cases of cancer coming from Magothy and places like those. Um, and there's the worry about prostate cancer, which is fairly common in St. Elizabeth, but not as rampant as Manchester.
Uh-huh.
Um, but the good old high blood pressure and diabetes is quite rampant in St. Elizabeth. Um, so those would be your top of the list things. Um, and we do get people with lung cancers and stuff because of the smoking,
Wow.
things like that. But the main issues with St. Elizabeth would be the chronic illnesses,
Uh-huh.
the diabetes, the hypertension.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the main stuff.
And and
Um,
and do you think we should be doing more in terms of education on a one-to-one, house to house level to try to stem this, doctor? Instead of just talking from like up here and nobody's hearing or listening or think it concerns them. Last year, a year ago, my brother just dropped down and died, like just like that. He'd never been sick, never hospitalized, nothing. And his blood pressure was high. He didn't even know that.
yeah, and that's a sad thing. The there's so much that we're not doing, and what is happening is that it is left in the hands of few people to do it. Our churches are not doing what they could because they have the furthest reach. If you were to take all the churches, the various denominations, they reach a wide cross section of society.
Right, they do.
But they but what are they doing in terms of educating the people about health? And the answer is not much.
Not much.
And not just that, but they slip up on certain things ahead because, of course, if, for instance, as soon as if a patient comes to my office and I say, look, you need to back up the leads and so they say, oh, because you're an Adventist. I say, no, that's not why. I'm telling you something that is good for your health. You tell them to stop coughing. I give you an example. A lady came into my office and her heart was racing. Checked her out and I said, I think you need to stop the coffee. Stop all the caffeine completely and let's see what happens. And she thinks it's because I'm Adventist why I'm telling her that. Now, interestingly, she went ahead and she spent probably about $700,000 checking her heart, only for the heart specialist to tell her after all of that, stop the caffeine. She stopped the caffeine and her heart started beating properly.
Yeah.
Right? So there's this tendency as well to as soon as you say, look, you need to eat more vegetables, they say, Advent. No, it's not that.
You want to turn them vegetarian because you are
Right.
Adventist, yeah. And we
So,
need to find a way to get rid of those kinds of beliefs so that people can understand that it is not about the Adventism or anything like that. And even if it's a practice that the Adventists practice, it's not because it's doctrine, it's because it's health. They do it for health
yes,
reasons.
yes.
That's the only
So
reason for
so
health.
yeah, so it doesn't matter. And I tell them, I said, for instance, when I was in Trinidad, the Hindus eat mostly vegetables. When you go to a Hindu wedding, there's not one piece of meat. Everything is vegetarian. They do not have their festivals with meat.
Wow.
Whether it's weddings, whether it's religious meetings, there's no meat. And you can eat and everything tastes so good.
Right.
Right? You do not have to eat meat. And so it's not just Adventists. They're Hindus. I mean, there are other religions that
if you're not
recognize the
exposed,
benefits.
if you're not exposed enough, then you won't know that. But
Right.
so to me, there is a responsibility of those of us who know to teach the others. Teach
Yes,
them in a way that they understand, not just stand at a pulpit and talk about it in
yeah,
ways that, it's like they can't connect with it.
yeah. But you have to help them as well because, for instance, you tell them you need to wean yourself off meat and eat more vegetables and more fruits and more nuts, and they're like, but I don't know. They don't know what to do.
Yeah.
They say I can't. The first thing is I can't eat callaloo all my life.
Let me tell you, I tell you a story about a good friend of mine. Every time I'm having anything to do with vegetarianism or juicing or doing any healthy lifestyle thing, she'll be like, nope, nope, leave me alone, leave me alone. So the last time I was having something online and I was doing juicing and all that, I invited her and she said, no, she's not doing it because she doesn't have any money. I went shopping and I bought her every vegetable and fruit and whatever. And I went to her house. I don't go to her house often. That's like years I've been there. I rang her doorbell and I took them up in her kitchen and I said, now you have no excuse. And she joined along and she juiced and did what she wanted to do. And, she realized that it's not that bad.
Yeah.
And, recently she was having high blood pressure spike up and, way out. And then she's like, she went to the doctor, she got a different set of medication, more medication. I keep saying to her, use your diet. You need to get off the meat and these things that you're eating. And then she's doing this new type of diet that they have with pure protein and a little bit of vegetable. I keep telling her, get off those things and watch what you're eating. The other day she called me up and told me she's going on a whole different diet now. She's going vegan diet. And I'm like, well, the chickens have come home to roost. And
Finally.
Within a week, her blood pressure went down so low, I had to tell her, get off those tablets, at least reduce by half.
Yeah.
She was heading like into the low stage. Just within a week of stop eating meat and stop eating all those nonsense that she was doing on this keto diet she was doing.
Yeah.
And now she is doing her own YouTube channel to show people how to control your blood pressure and to bring it down and all of that. And I'd smile. I said, thank you, Jesus.
Of course.
You never think it could happen. But it goes to show that sometimes you have to hold people by the hand.
Yes.
To move them to the next level. Coming off meat, even for a month, can make a huge difference in your life.
Yeah.
And if you stop eating meat for a month, you would realize that you don't need it as much.
Exactly.
You probably won't even go back to eating it.
Yeah.
But it would certainly make you realize that your body starts to act different. I take people on a 1 month vegan diet, and believe me, at the end of that month, they don't want no meat. They have more energy, much more energy. They lose weight, they feel better.
Yeah.
See that Jackie Collins in there clapping hands? She knows that because I've done that with her in my program. So how can we convince more people to just give it a try? You don't have to do it forever.
Yeah, but sometimes, as you said, we have to hold their hands. Sometimes we need to teach them how to make these things.
Yeah.
I remember doing something like this in our church, where I said we had a taste and see day, and I asked people to get these meals prepared, just so that people could taste. And I tell you something, some people made some strange things, but it was so lovely.
Right.
And you had to share the recipe and stuff, and
I'm anxious to teach some people to do this, and I'm not teaching them to eat veggie meat and veggie chow and veggie chow how. It's just vegetables.
Yes.
I don't do my training around processed food, so none of those veggie whatever, because some of them are really salty and all that. None of them I encourage. Yeah, none of them.
Yeah.
But certainly you can make really tasty meals that doesn't have meat in it. And you see this old dairy and all of these things. You see how stuffy I am? Just eat a piece of chocolate or something, and that's what would happen. It's not good for us.
No.
So we really have to take health back.
Yeah. And the problem is that unfortunately we do not train even our young people to take their health, to take responsibility for themselves. So it's easy for them when they're sick. They just go to the doctor and the doctor writes a prescription. That's not health.
No.
That's not health.
But so I also heard, doctor, that a lot of the doctors themselves or nurses in general are not even trained in nutrition either.
Yeah, I know. No, we're not. And
They have a
unfortunately,
worse rate of taking care of themselves too.
and it is a fact. As a matter of fact, that's why we give bad advice, because we do not know how to, we do not know what to tell people. When sometimes some patients come to me and they tell me what they were advised to eat, I'm like, seriously? You're going to die. I remember this lady, I did a pap smear, found out it was abnormal, so I referred her. So I found out she was, stage 1 cancer. So they started to treat her with radiation and stuff. And then I saw her one day and she looked like she was dying. And I said, what's wrong with you? Because I know it was just stage 1. And she said, Doc, I don't know. And I said, are you eating properly? She said, no, I can't eat properly. And when she told me what they said she should eat, I said, I just looked at her and said, you're going to die.
Oh my God.
I told her bluntly, I said, you're going to die. And she said, Doc, what should I do? And I said, start eating your fruits and vegetables. Cut it rubbish. And I just told her, start eating your fruits, your vegetables, your nuts, your seeds, your peas and beans and whatever. 2 weeks later, I saw her, she was like new.
Yeah, that will give you a new lease on life.
Yeah.
I've known cancer patients to be surviving just because they change their diet to strictly vegetarian diet, just straight up vegan, no meat. Well, meat somehow, but eating a lot of fruits and vegetables, that become the main part of their meal, and that makes that extend their year beyond what doctor said they'll be able to live.
Yeah. And the problem is, as you rightly said, we were not trained to when it comes to the whole thing of diet and stuff like that.
So,
that's not part of our training.
If you guys are the bearers of health, and they don't train you in nutrition, what do you expect to happen?
Because we're trained to prescribe. We're just agents of drug companies. Unfortunately, that's what we are.
Trained to fix and prescribe drugs.
Yeah.
Not prescribe health in the sense of preventing this from happening. It's sad, but we have to do more. We really have to do more. And I think, and I have been advocating that we need, as a community, to encourage people to plant their own foods.
Yeah.
There's no need for them to be buying all this foreign stuff that they're feeding themselves on.
Pointless.
Yam and badu and cocoa and dashin and whatever they plant there, that's all the food they need, and the vegetables.
Yeah.
And fresh fruits that are not processed.
Yeah.
Now I notice that when I eat fruits that I'm getting all kind of sinus problems from some of these fruits, because they're full of all kind of stuff.
Chemicals.
So you're like, what do you eat now? If you the fruits, your body is rejecting it. So what are you supposed to do?
Yeah. Because they know we were going to head to fruits and vegetables, so they decided to poison both of them as well. So you have to do your own. You have to plant what you can. You have to learn to eat. And I tell you something, there are some simple things. When I tell my patients some simple things to eat, I tell them, I say, you can use the pumpkin leaf and you can cut it up like callaloo. And they're like, what? I said, yes, you can. I tell them, I said, the sweet potato leaf can be eaten as well.
And dashin and those, right?
Yeah. And they're like, what?
They do that in Trinidad, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Tell somebody up New Market to go cut up some dashin leaf and cook it, and you hear them pop out some big laugh.
But we usually use the Indian kale and make soup, which is
and the kale is just as rugged and rough, it's thick. The leaves are just as hard.
Yeah. No, but the Indian kale is like the young dashin leaf, and we use that to make soup. We used to use that to make soup when we were young.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So these are the good things.
We have to do more on the nutrition front. I hope, doctor, that we can do some programs in the New Market area, you know, in whether or we don't have to be New Market, we can do them on this program. We can have nutritional talks, whatever,
Yeah.
because it's reaching more people than just who's in New Market, you know. But I myself, when I find the time and I'm back there in New Market, I plan to spend some time there and just walk around and talk to people, you know, about how they're eating and so on. So, you know, just to see if we could just inspire them to do something different.
Yeah.
You know, people stop boil coconut and get the oil. We go out and buy the poisoning oils. You know, all these good things we move away from because we're trying to adopt a kind of lifestyle that look like it's foreign, so it's good. But no.
Yeah, we're getting lazy as well. That's
Yeah.
unfortunate, but
we're getting lazy and we're purchasing more, and then we say we don't have money. How that's supposed to happen? You're supposed to do the things that you can do in order to save money, right?
yes, that's what we're
You
supposed
have
to.
that money to do something else, to pay the light bill, or you know, do whatever else you need to do. So yeah. So we've been kind of way over the time. I know you're really busy, but it's really interesting to talk to you about these things, Doctor. I really appreciate you coming out here and sitting down and just be humble and nice and gracious to talk to us about just about everything in your life right now. I really hope this is the beginning of more to come. You know, the New Market Initiative that we are trying, Franklin probably talked to you about it. We're trying to get the community, you know, to be more mindful of what's going on and to plan their community, do more activities, get the young people more engaged and more involved. And I hope that you would be a part of that movement that we're trying to create, you know, to bring about change. Because the way things are now, it's just like other people decide what the community should have and not have, and most of the time they decide what we do not want, we shouldn't have, instead of us all getting together and discussing it, community and leaders, and then decide. You know, it's kind of like everything is left up to the whoever, and then nothing gets done.
Yeah.
You know, there's not much representation, and we hope that we can change that. That, you know, forums like these can bring out that we have sensible people from the area, but we need to be participating in order to get the changes that we deserve and we need.
Yeah.
So that everybody does not have to get up and run away to Kingston or Montego Bay or wherever. That we have enough happening in the area that we can provide employment there and stability there, that families can stay together.
Yeah.
So I really hope we can do more. What do you think we can do about this whole crime thing? That's probably the last thing I'll ask you. Somebody probably nudging you at the side there to go.
Yeah. But
what do you think we can do?
It's a very tricky thing because on one hand, if we don't start training our youth from much earlier, to not head that direction, then there's the rest is catching up. And unfortunately, you have to be aggressive. This whole thing of thinking we can ask people to be nice doesn't work. When a person is gone into crime, unless some people reach out to them one-on-one,
right?
You have to go there and battle them.
Yes, that's what I think too. That personal touch, that one-on-one follow-up, you know, yeah.
It's either that or it's fire with fire. And if you're going to go that route, then you have to go ahead. Whichever direction you have to go, it takes investing time, investing resources, and it takes a lot of effort.
Right.
I think we fight crime in Jamaica like a joke, where we think we can just we think we can deal with it in a couple of minutes and then it's gone. Not going to happen. It's a long term.
Yeah. Certainly. And it starts from in the home.
Yeah, it does.
Start from in the home. The home, the school, they have a big responsibility. Doctor, I thank you so much. I've kept you enough, long enough from your family. I know you've just gone home and probably really tired. Being in charge of a whole hospital cannot be a simple task. So
It's a handful.
I'm gonna let you go.
Okay,
Thank
then.
you so much. I appreciate it. And
Yep.
I hope we can continue this dialogue. People in the group, thank you so much. Leave your kind regards for the doctor. He will come back and read them and see your comments. So leave him some comments. We pray for you, doctor, and we pray for you continued success and your family.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Okay, then.
Okay,
All right.
wonderful night. Bye-bye.